So here we have the Luminosita Frieren and Mimic figure by Sega. And there's actually a lot you can do with this figure. Like, it isn't an action figure, so there's no articulation, but it's kind of like two figures in one. So yeah, the Mimic just opens up like this, and then Frieren can come out, and she's her own fully sculpted figure, so you can display her on her own, or also the Mimic on its own, and yeah, the Mimic looks great on its own. Aside from the two teeth that are missing here, but that's so Frieren can go right into there, otherwise they'd be like, poking into her and she wouldn't fit. But it is nice that they actually still sculpted something there, like you could see where the teeth start, but then it just cuts off right there, so I really appreciate that attention to detail. But yeah, with the Mimic, you could really just put whatever you want in there, so there's a lot of fun ways you can set this up, and I love taking pictures of my figures, so I've been having a lot of fun with these two. Like, this is one of the most fun figures I've had in a long time. I feel like it's a really great value for what you get, and yeah, I like her pose also. Like, it reminds me of in One Piece when Perona uses her negative hollow attack and then characters kneel down all depressed like this. So I thought it was funny that it like matches that pose perfectly, and there's just so much other stuff you can do with this. Like, I have tons of fun just pairing her up with other characters in my collection and seeing what kind of stupid funny poses I can come up with. And now let's look at the Mimic. So he's really nicely sculpted. I especially like how on the roof of his mouth you can see all that detail there, and then there's also some at the bottom of the mouth too. And the teeth look nicely done, and then yeah, he's got two hinges, so that's how he opens up. Just open up that far, and then he closes this far. And there's also some decent shading on it around the gold portions. I can't recall what those are called at the moment, like the gold metal parts that help to hold the chest together or whatever, but yeah, there's some shading around all those gold portions. So yeah, I think the Mimic turned out pretty great, though mine does have some spots where the paint is missing, but as with any prize figure, there's always going to be some little errors here and there. And then at the bottom of the Mimic, we can see the marking, and what's the number on it? It's 1120780. And now let's take a look at Frieren. So she has the same number on the underside of her dress, 1120780. And this is the second release of the figure, so I'm not sure if that number differs between the first and second release. But one way you can tell them apart is by the placement of the Luminosita logo. On the second release, it's right here in the bottom left corner, then on the first release, it's somewhere in this area. And I'm talking about the Japan releases specifically. Now back to the figure itself. So all the colors are where they're supposed to be. We can see her belt and the three lines above it, and I also like the gold color that they chose for the trim. Then looking at the boots, we can see the bottom of the boots, the soles of the boots are a darker brown, while the rest of the boots are a lighter brown. Then above the boots, we can see her navy blue leggings, and those are sculpted all the way up there. You can see her legs going all the way up under her dress. And now let's take a look at the face. So she has a very Frieren-like facial expression there. I'm not sure what to call that, but it is a face that she makes. And I think they did a great job capturing it on this figure. And another aspect I like about the sculpt of the figure is how they have her earrings hanging down, because she's kneeling down on the floor like this, so they would naturally be hanging down like that. So I thought that was a nice detail, but when it comes to like the quality of the figure itself, it does feel a bit below average, at least when compared to the stuff I usually collect. Like here we have the Relaxed Time Frieren. And this one is just really nicely done. Like, it's a really clean looking figure. The hair and everything it just looks great. It feels great to hold. But when I hold and touch this one, it just feels like a lower quality, like the hair, and just, I don't know, it's hard to really get this across unless you're the one holding it in your hands. But compared to other prize figures that I collect, this one does feel like it's a bit of a lower quality. And it is a Sega figure. I think it's my first ever Sega prize figure. Most of what I collect is Bandai, whether it's like prize figures or Ichiban Kuji. Most of it is Bandai stuff. And they're not perfect all the time either. Like, there's different tiers, different lines of figures from Bandai and from Sega. So I'm looking forward to buying some more Sega stuff because they've got a lot of fun looking Frieren figures. Like, some of the ones I want to get are the Ringlets one, which is what happens to her after she goes inside of the Mimic. Gets stuck inside of the Mimic. If she gets stuck in the Mimic, I think she said, like, there's a spell she can use to blow it up from the inside, but it messes up her hair like that. So that's why she likes people to help her get out of the Mimic. That way she doesn't ruin her hair. So yeah, that's what that figure's about. And there's also this young Fern figure that I want to get too. And those are just the ones off the top of my head. There's probably a few others I want to get as well. And I always like to form my own opinions on stuff, so I'm not going to assume that Sega is worse than Bandai based off one figure. I'm going to collect a few more of them, and then I'll see how I feel about their figures at that point. But yeah, you can also see a good amount of like mold lines throughout the hair, and also this one area right by her ear, you can see a little gap there. So yeah, this one just feels a little bit rougher overall to what I'm used to getting. But that doesn't affect my enjoyment of this figure whatsoever. It's still a really fun figure to have, and I don't really think about those things when I'm setting it up. I'm just having fun looking at it. It does a great job representing the scene.